Dear Masters, we will start chapter 10, Finding Soma. And so our Soma has met with Ansuya, and she's having hard time recognizing her. She recognized her right time, but Ansuya still hasn't remembers anything from her past. Finding Soma. And so our Soma has met with Ansuya. And Sandeep sir, I think you have to stop the, because the voice is, yes.
I think we should be good now.
Okay. Dear Masters, we will start chapter 10 today, Finding Soma. So Ansuya has reached the little hut of Soma, and Soma has recognized Ansuya. And with crinkled face, when the older people, they're trying to recognize someone, they kind of bring their forehead close to you and see, who are you? So she finally recognizes, oh, it's you. And with a big smile, she's like, as if all the black clouds have gone and the rainbow has come. So she finally sees, oh, like, I've been waiting for you for so long. And all the confusion has been gone. And she touches her face, and then she touches her mole, and then she touches her braid. But when her hand comes to her mole, she puts her hands rest there as if like, you are such a beauty, she says to her. And Ansuya says, I've never considered myself too beautiful. I know my parents have called me little princess, but I would never considered myself like super extremely beautiful. And that's when mom came in the hut. Ansuya's mom came in the hut and gave a proper introduction to Soma that this is Ansuya. And while the both two ladies were talking, Ansuya says, I was feeling very comfortable in Soma's presence. And she says Soma was really an older woman, and with the age, her hair had thinned a lot. The thinning of the hair has happened. But her head was covered by orange cloth, like the saints and the rishis at that time. Even sometimes, even now, they wear orange clothes. So, and her head was covered. And she says that all she was doing is, even though the two ladies are talking, Ansuya felt that Soma is looking at her again and again, like, I want to talk more to her than your mom, because, they have a connection from the previous birth. And Ansuya says that the aura, when you meditate a lot, Ansuya sees the aura of Soma has a different vibration, and it's a very positive energy that she's radiating. And she was talking very kindly, very nicely. She was talking to Ansuya and the mother. What she says that even though when Soma found out that her name is Ansuya, she says, so you named after Rishi Ansuya, you named your daughter Ansuya after Rishi Ansuya. But mom says, this is a very key point, my dear friends. Mom says, no, we named her after Rishi Atri's wife, Ansuya. Because, as the time was progressing, women roles were deteriorating. And women were known only by what their men were their men, when I say men, their husband had achieved. They did not have any of their own identity. So Soma says, so now in Ayodhya, Ansuya is only known as a devoted wife, nothing else. So, and then she explains that Ansuya was so powerful that she could achieve more than what any male rishis had done. And what she had done with her meditation is worth what anybody else would have done. And she says that she was a Janani. Janani means Ma. She had a wisdom. She had one who seeks liberation through knowledge. That's how smart of a woman Ansuya was. And she had prepared Sita Mata in different ways to help her stay in Lanka, because she knew Rishi Ansuya knew that Lanka's what exile time with the Ravan, Mata is not going to be comfortable. And so she made her she taught her different ways of doing meditation and all that. She gave her a lot of fruits of meditation. So Mata could be able to sustain her time in there. Soma says, Soma, when Soma was talking to Ansuya and her mother about Lanka, Ansuya's face gets a little uncomfortable. And all those emotions were very mixed because, as I mentioned in my previous chapters, that every time there was a topic of Mata's kidnapping, Ansuya did not like it. And that was the reason as a child that she had to quit going to the ashram, the Rishi ashrams, because remember, Raja Ram had encouraged girls to go to school, and it was like more like a day school, not where the girls would stay overnight at the ashram. So because of that topic was very sensitive to her, she could not stay in the school for a long time. And that's when Ansuya's mother told Soma that you have brought a very sensitive topic for my child. So Soma says, okay, tell me, what makes you think that why Mata was, you tell me, what do you think so far that why Mata was not, was not kidnapped? What made you think that? So at that time, Soma, Ansuya says, I feel like I was having hard time talking to Soma. I felt like my words were stuck in my throat. And she says, I was looking for words to tell her my true emotions. Then finally she says that I feel that Mata was not a Abla Nari. Abla Nari means like, weak woman, that she could not have been touched by anyone if there was no consent from her. So basically what she says, Ravan would have to have a consent of her before he even comes and touches her. And she was very capable to defend herself. And, that this is not possible that Mata could have been kidnapped. And then Soma says, yes, you're right, that this story is only half told because nobody wants to listen to the woman's side of the story. Everybody is just interested to know how Ayodhya is flourishing, how much wealth they have, how many countries they have captured, how many places are under, how many kingdoms, not countries, sorry, how many kingdoms they have captured, and they're growing wealth-wise and kingdom-wise. So please tell me that story, Ansuya process to Soma. Soma says, please be patient. And first I need to serve you food because Mata will never be happy if I don't serve food. And little later, they realize more rishis or more rishi from the area, they come and visit her. And they were talking about, and then she says that, why do you always have to feed everybody? Is this how it was in Mithila too? So Ansuya Soma. Soma says, yes, it was Janak Baba who had started this, and Mata carried forward that he said that always more would every time they would think that there's no more food to feed anybody, all of a sudden a farmer would come with more food, and there would be more food that they would not even imagine that would be coming. And that's what Janak Baba said is called gift of giving. The more you give, the more you get back. And there was a time when they had a drought, and one time a cook forgot, for cook is like, I'm not going to give the food because I only have 2 plates left to this couple. He said that I'm not going to give you food, I only have 2 plates left for the king and the queen. And when Raja Janak found out, he said, unless each and every person in my area, my kingdom, is fed for, me and Sunena are not going to eat any food. So that's how Janak Baba was. And that's what Soma narrated this little story from the past, incident while she was in Janak Baba's place. And she says, Janak Baba always took care of his people. And Mata practiced this giving of food till the last minute. And Patri sir always does this thing. Everywhere he goes, he cooks one food, because when people like him, when they're meditators, they have very positive energies, and they serve food, and when they make food, when Patri sir makes food, his healing energies goes, and whoever eats that food is blessed. I know blessed is not a word, but blessed is like the healing properties come, because the meditators, when you meditate at such a high level the way Patri sir does, their positivity flourishes, goes through her food and heals the person who is eating that food. And that's what Sita Mata did. We will hear in the future passages, paragraphs that, wherever they were going when the fightings were happened, Mata would heal people with the help of the food. And so these rishis were enjoying the food that was served by Soma. And she says, I don't know how far I have to go. I don't know when Mata will come and get me from this earth. So the rishis are saying that, Mata wants you to come, keep on. So whenever we come here, Mata wants us to feed us to be fed by you. And while we are getting food, we also get to hear all the good stories from you about Mata. And that is your purpose. So the rishis are telling Soma, this is your purpose of life, that you have to narrate the stories of Mata that, have been lost in the passage of time. So Soma feels like, Soma was like, kept on feeding them, and Mata feels that, it was law of nature. Mata always said ki we should never hoard food. It was against the law of nature of when the hoarding of the food happens. Nature doesn't teach us to hoard food. Greed has caused a lot of shortages. And then that's how drought happens. When what happens in one part of the world, it will definitely affect the other part of the world. And that's why Soma said that Ravan was doing the same thing. He was sucking the energies from one part of the world. And so he was taking everything for himself. And that's why the other areas were suffering. So then Ansuya asked Soma, was it hard for you to leave Mithila when you moved from Mithila to Ayodhya? Was it hard for you? Soma gave a smile and she says, we never left Mithila. We were always a part of Mithila. As Mata said, that Mithila stayed with us. I've left India. Do you think I have forgotten my culture? My roots are still there. I still do the pujas. I still do everything. All of you, you have migrated from India, so different parts of the world. Have you forgotten your roots? Nobody forgets their roots. That's what Soma tells Ansuya. We never forget it. Yes, I agree that leaving Janak Baba physically, because we knew we will not see Janak Baba again, that was the hard part. Leaving Mithila was not a hard part, because we knew that Mithila was coming along with us. But leaving Janak Baba was very hard for us, because Janak Baba was like a father figure. And she remembered the last day when she saw how Raja Janak and Sunana Ma took care of all four of them. When I say four of them, was it four maids, Usha, Rohana, Soma, and Minakshi, all four of them. How he took care of them as their own daughters. And but when she saw Mata saying goodbye to Raja Janak, they had an eye contact. That father and daughter had an eye contact. It was felt like it was a message that this is the last time they will meet in person. And after that, whenever they will meet in inner planes. When I say inner planes, is in a meditative state. Yes, Mata definitely kept on receiving and giving messages to Janak Baba while in meditation. It could be night before Ayodhya, night before she was to leave Ayodhya to go to exile. She asked Janak Baba, she informed Janak Baba. Then night before captivity, she asked Janak Baba that, I am giving consent to Ravan to come get me. And even when when she left her body, a couple days before that, Raja Janak came, and that time Soma also sees Janak Baba. And so basically the father and daughter always kept in touch, only in the meditative state. But that was after she got married. That was the last time they met physically. And then she also said that when they left Mithila, Mata gave her both the daughters a special piece of jewelry, and Sita Mata got a pendant and a judamani. Judamani is like a hair clip, and Mata had these two pieces of ornament while she was in exile. This pendant is very important part of the story, so please remember this link. I will keep on repeating. The pendant will somehow come to Ansuya's husband's grandmother. And so Ansuya will get to see the Sita Mata's pendant. So that's why I say it is a very important part of the link in the story. So please remember that. So the weather was getting warmer, and so Soma says, let's go inside, and I'll start my story inside. So then she goes back and she says how after she got married, Sita Mata, and when they came to Ayodhya, Kaushalya Maharani had surprised Sita Mata, because all those carpenters and everybody she had called from Mithila, so Mata could have a same kind of environment in her new place. And there was a lot of cooks who were there, and they were cooking nice food as whatever Mata liked. So Mata does not feel out of place. Sita Mata and Kaushalya Ma had a very close bond. And but Mata never cared about the material stuff. She only took care of what was on your heart. And and when they came inside, she looked around the little hut of Soma, and she saw a little statue of Mata made up of mud. So and it was covered with flowers and leaves and decorated nicely. And so she says, "Oh, this is so pretty." So Ansuya is admiring the hut and how the peaceful the place was. And then Soma starts telling the story that one time Rishi Ram and Atri Rishi went and met Ramji and Sita Mata. They went and met Rishi Atri and Rishi Ansuya, and how they had stayed there and how they had made a little cave and little place of them to stay. So one day, Mata was very thirsty. Ramji said, "I will go get water for you." As soon as he was getting out of the cave to get the water for Sita Mata, all of a sudden a little spring of water came up. And Ramji said smilingly, "Look, Sita, nature always fulfills your wish," because Mata was so connected with the nature. As soon as she feels that she's thirsty, the nature came to her, the spring water came to her. And that spring turned into a clear water of pool. And out of that pool, a whole river came out. And she said, "I'm Godavari Nadi. I came to seek blessings from both of you." And after she seek blessings from both of them, she said, "I'm going to head out to south and I will meet you in south when you are there." But she left a little portion, that river left a little portion of her water for Mata to take her baths and, take care of stuff. So Soma was seeing all this through that flame that Mata had left before she left Ayodhya. So all this conversation, all the stories that she could see was through the little flame that Mata had left in Ayodhya. And so Soma knew all about where were they going, everything that was going in their lives. So Soma says every time she sat there, she would listen to their Ramji and Sita's conversation. And that's when she found out that there was a deeper purpose for their exile. Yeah, besides, how to, yes, agreed that, there were a lot of attacks by Rakshasas, demons. A lot of demons were attacking, and they had to take care of all the religious books and religious places, and they had to save them. And how to save them was Ramji and Lakshmanji's responsibility. And they had to face a lot of problems. A lot of troubles were created by these demons. They were torturing women. They were abducting animals and hurting everybody. And Mata was a very successful woman in taking care of plant medicine. And Mata would heal people with her plant medicine capabilities. And that's how they could survive in the jungles for so long. Soma says every time when I would open my eyes and I would absorb, now and then she would open her eyes and she would absorb what's going on. She was like, because whenever she's telling a story, she goes into the meditative states, into the past. So Mata says that sometimes Soma, it was totally different that how things were going for them, and how Ayodhya was growing in Aryan civilization. But she says that there was more there to needed, that Mata needed to teach the people that the path they were going, that how the cultivation should be done. That's what she learned from Raja Janaka about cultivation, because the earth was growing, people were growing, and they needed to know how to sustain themselves. And the forests were declining, and the only way the people could survive was to learn the skills of cultivation. And these knowledge of seeds and the different kinds of foods that would be planted, Mata taught everybody all these. She taught them to read the signs of nature, the direction of winds, the timings of migration of birds, and so many other things. Mata was a very capable woman. And when we see the TV shows in Ramayana, we see that, she was like a very simple woman, knowing nothing, like, she was very timid kind of a woman. No, she was a all-rounder kind of a woman. And Ramji, on the other hand, was teaching people how to govern themselves, how to do zamindari system, how to rule themselves, how to take care of themselves. And Mata also taught everybody how to pay gratitude to the Dharti Ma, Vasundhara Ma. Because gratitude, whenever we are in gratitude mode, when we give gratitude, the universe gives us double. So we should always be in a gratitude mode. And every time there was a war in the community, a lot of people would die, and families would lose their leaders, their fathers, their husbands. And what would Mata do? She would cook a lot of food with lot of healing herbal plants in it. So she would heal the communities. And as they went along, their problems were getting closer, battles were becoming more intense, and the anxiety was was increasing. Mata and Ramji, on the other hand, had a very special bond of love, and whoever was around them could feel that intense attraction between the two of them. We all felt the part of this circle of love, and Mata and it never felt like they were in exile. The bond was so close. Even Lakshmanji noticed that love, and all three of them had and realized that Mata had so much capabilities. And Mata also believed in principle of sharing, and that also she always knew that she's like, you know how Indian women are. If there's a shortage of food, they always want to feed their men in the family. So that's how Mata was. Mata was always in a giving nature. But one time Ramji noticed that Mata gives all the food to him and Lakshman, and she doesn't eat for herself. So Ramji said, no, this is not fair. You have to take care of your health too. So both husband and wife were like arguing about, you eat first, you eat first. So Lakshmanji said, no, now on from both of you will not eat, I will not eat. So finally it got decided that they will have whatever food they have for the day, they will equally share. So there is no, everybody gets at least a little of something. Excuse me. And they felt each other's emotions very closely. Whatever their thoughts would be read by each other. If Ramji had any injury on his body because of the battle, Mata would take care of him and put some herbal medicines. There was a very caring love nature in both in their relationship. So one day Mata fell really ill, and Ramji got a lot of instructions from Sita Mata which plants to get and how to boil them, how to brew them, and take care of them for her. So Ramji really took good care of Mata, but Mata was recovering in a slow process because sometimes these herbal medicines, they take their time to recover. But next day Ramji had to go to a village to help some people, and Mata knew that if she is not completely healed, Ramji will not leave. So that night, Mata sat in a meditation all night, and in the morning she was in a feeling better, and so Ramji could leave. And their thought processing was so much that they could read each other's thought, and this connection was there until until Ravan touched her. So once Mata came in Ravan's captivity, that connection was lost. And that connection was lost, and Mata, we will find in the future chapters that Mata drank some water, and how Ravan plays mind games on her, and how Parvati Mata comes in her life, and so on. But yes, that connection was lost between where they could read each other's thought, and that's when Hanumanji went and told her that Ramji is fine. And Parvati Mata also came to Sita Mata and told her ki Ramji is fine, because Ravan was playing the mind game as to telling her that either Ramji is dead or I'm going to kill her and stuff like that. So Soma was listening to Ansuya, was listening to all these stories and how things were going on. And she always, Soma got really tired of was feeling very tired. So Ansuya and her mother said, it's time for us to leave. We will let you rest. And so when they came back to their hut, Ansuya's mother asked Ansuya, what do you feel about Soma? She said, I don't know, mother. All I feel is a lot of love for Soma. And whenever she says something about Raja Janak, I feel like I'm talking to my own. She's talking about my father. I feel that close bond with Raja Janak, because she was Meenakshi in the previous birth, and Meenakshi in the previous birth, when she lost her father, when an accident happened and Meenakshi's father died, Raja Janak took care of her. And then when Sita Mata got married, Raja Janak took care of her as a daughter, and he sent her off as a father would send off a daughter after marriage, with giving a lot of gifts and love. So that's why she felt, even in this birth, whenever Soma talked about Raja Janak, Ansuya felt that Soma was talking about her own father. So she had that bond with her. So that evening, when Ansuya and her mother were talking about at the dinner table, not the table, but sitting in the floor, and they were all eating dinner, and the Rishi, the ashram principal, was talking to Ansuya, and they were having a conversation, and they said, what we learned from Mata is that Mata says that we should always take care of the nature, And Mata says that the knowledge should be always given to women as much as the men. Everybody should have the knowledge. And Mata says that whatever happens in the life is by our own choice. So that's they were discussing what goals Mata had in her life. So that ends my chapter 10. We will start chapter 11. Excuse me. Chapter 11 is Soma's tale. Any questions so far before I start the next chapter? Okay, thank you. So Ansuya was in a chapter 11, Masters, Soma's tale. Ansuya went into the deep sleep, and when she woke up, she figured out she was very late, and she was very excited to go back to Soma. So she's like, Mom, she asked her mother that we will skip breakfast and we will go straight to Soma. And when they went to Soma's house, Soma was not in her hut. She was cooking outside, and she had already fed so many rishis that day. And again, Soma says, "I'm not going to let you sit down for story time before you eat food." So she fed both mother and her daughter. And when they came inside, Soma felt that bond, and Ansuya felt that bond with Soma, and Ansuya wanted to touch her feet, and she says, "Mata." So Soma says, "No, no, no, I'm no Mata. There's only one Mata, and there's a Sita Mata. Just call me Soma." And that's so they sat down comfortably. She starts telling stories. So then she says, Rishi Atri and Ansuya requested Shri Ram and Mata to head to south to the Dhaka forest. That's the name of the forest, the Dhaka forest, to get rid of the area. In the area, there were violent creatures that were attacking, and they were leaving communities in a Cold War kind of a situation was going on. Before seeing them off, Sage Ansuya took Mata on the side, and she says, "I have nothing to offer you. You know how in our culture, if a guest is leaving, we offer them something, a gift or something." So Ansuya Mata says that I have nothing to give you, dear. All I have to give you is the fruits of my meditation, and I will give it to you, and that will help you with lot of hard times in your life in future. And these gifts of meditation, the fruits of these meditation will give you a lot of strength and protection. And Mata was very thankful to Rishi Ansuya for this gift, because this gift was really helpful during the difficult times as they traveled south. And many years had passed by now, and all they were doing is fighting with all the demons that were coming in their way. And on the other side, Ramji, Sitaji, and Lakshmanji, they were teaching everybody how to develop farming skills. Finally, Ram and Lakshmanji came to Panchvati, and Mata loved this place so much, and because Godavari Nadi was there. Remember how Godavari Nadi said, "I will meet you in south"? So Godavari Nadi is here. Mata treated her like her daughter, and she would sat near the river, and Mata would sat there on comfortable position and do meditation for a long time near Godavari Nadi. And Godavari Nadi would bring her fresh flowers, and sometimes she would bring her medicine plants to take care of. And Godavari Nadi felt very happy whenever Mata would come there. Godavari Nadi had, since the region was such nice, it was very comfortable. There was a lot of fresh berries, fruits, and everything. So Mata, Lakshmanji, and Ramji had an ample of food, and the place was really had a lot of abundance of food everywhere. Even though everything was peaceful, there was something missing from inside. And Mata and Ramji felt that there was some sort of disturbance in the region, which they could not figure out. Then one time, some group of rishis came to meet with Ramji and Sitaji, and that's when they told that this region has been disturbed by Ravana Lord. And so Ravan's commanders are attacking people, and to punish people, they would stop the flow of water, or they would kill women, or they would abduct women, kill animals, and that's they are hurting everything, the nature and people both. And Mata felt, and Panchvati was apparently a center for their disaster. So Ramji calmed both the rishis down, and he said, "We are here now. Well, we'll take care of Ravan now." And Mata was surprised that Ravan is so powerful, because Mata remembers Ravan from that time when Ravan came to Raja Janak to ask for Shivji's Dhanush, the bow and arrow. And, Raja Janak said, "I cannot give it to you." And he just went off. And that's that time Ravan was very powerless. Now he is very powerful. Mata says, how can he do all this? And so Rishis explained that he's done a lot of tapasya, a lot of meditation, and he has gained a lot of powers. So Mata asks Rishis, can mantras not be used to ward him off? So the Rishi says, no, mantras cannot be used. He's only one who has a power to counter these mantras. And his army is, we cannot even defend him with the weapons. He even has a power to destroy the solar system. This is how powerful Ravan has become. And Ramji knew that this was going to be a hard one to take care of, but they were ready for it. And Mata did what she always did. She made food with healing properties to calm the rishis down. And after they were gone, she was very concerned. All three of them sat down to talk. And Lakshmanji, being a hyper person, says, let's go attack Ravan. We don't want to deal with this. And Ramji said, don't forget Lakshman. He's also a great scholar and a devotee of Mahadev. To attack him would be attacking Mahadev directly. We must have a real cause so that no one can, counter question us, that we need to find the reason for attacking him. So Lakshmanji is hyper. So he goes, didn't you not hear, Bhaiya, that what rishis are telling us, that he is hurting everybody and you're still looking for a proof? So he says, no, we cannot do that. And moreover, we cannot, the way rishis are explaining, he's hiding his track. The commanders are smart enough not to leave any proof. So we don't have any proof. And on the other hand, we don't know what kind of weapons he has. They knew, Ramji and Lakshman knew what weapons they have, but what they have never used these weapons. And they don't know what these weapons will have the cause and effect on the earth after these weapons are released into the universe. And so they don't know. On the other hand, they don't know what kind of weapons Ravan has. So they're all trying to avoid the war. And as soon as the topic of the war and all the weapons came, literally Sita Mata was shaking with fear. Because, Sita Mata is very close to Dharti, was Vasundhara. So she feels the effect, whatever happens in the nature, she can feel it in her body. So Lakshmanji, again, a little hyper person, he goes, let me go provoke him. If he doesn't have a proof, we will provoke him, and then he will, will end up having a fight. So Ramji calmed him down and he says, Raman, we are in this world, and there's always a cause and effect. So whatever damages he's doing, it will return back to him. So everybody gets the fruit of whatever they seeds that they bow. They will get the fruits of that. Whatever they take, so his demise is going to happen by himself. So just leave him alone and let's see what the nature and the flow of the path is. Next day, Ram and Mataji went to Rishi Agastya and to meet Lopamudra. So Rishi Agastya and Lopamudra, they live near the river Godavari, and Rishi Lopamudra is this is another woman Rishi that I'm talking about, Rishi Lopamudra, who is a wife of Rishi Agastya. And she's a writer of hymns as well as having an extraordinary spiritual powers in invisible world. She excelled at battling the asuras who often operated in the dark, unseen worlds. And she believed that asuras have right to live too, and as long as they use their powers wisely. So she was also a very powerful woman. I have never heard about this Rishi until I started reading this book. So both the rishis, the husband and wife, basically, they confirmed that Raman knows how to take care in the illusionary world. So he's not only fighting with weapons, he is also fighting with illusions. So you know how the magician plays the music and illusions in your mind and brain, and when you in your brain, and you think that things are actually happening when nothing is happening. And so he knows how to create this illusionary art. He is perfect in illusionary arts, and he has trained himself into learning of a lot of powerful mantras, and these power mantras have sometimes ill effects on people too. And so Ramji and Sita also learned a lot of mantras from Rishi Agastya and Rishi Lopamudra. And so Rishi Lopamudra also taught Mata and Ramji a special mantra, and she made them aware that only use this mantra if only needed in a very drastic situation. Otherwise, when everything fails, then only use this mantra. And pronunciation is the key. So anytime we do any prayer ceremony, the pronunciation of mantras is really important. And she says that Ravan is capable of going in your brain and retrieving that mantra. So she said, I will hide that mantra in deep levels of your brain, and you will be able to retrieve it only when you need it. And so that's what Rishi Lopamudra. So this is how smart this woman was. Mata and Ramji, only 1 year was left for their exile to get over. Even though how people used to go to astrologers, people still go to the astrologers, but back then it was very common practice. So one of the astrologers had told them the last year of their exile would be very hard on them. But even though they knew about the difficult times that were coming, they were still happy in this area, in the Panchvati area. Ramji, because remembered that warning from the astrologer, so he had told Sita Mata, he had requested Sita Mata that not to go to wandering around in the jungles by herself. Either take him or take Lakshman with her, because she says because he said that the attacks of Ravan are getting even he's attacking more often, so she should not go. And so usually Mata would not heed to the request of Ramji, because she loved going to the jungle and sitting down near Godavari for a long time. But she knew how sensitive the situation was, so she understood, and she's like, okay, I will not go. Soma says that on the other side, when Soma says that in Ayodhya, people were still loving going and praying near the Saryu Nadi. Lot of people, women would get up early in the morning, and the princess that they barely knew, Sita Mata was there for a very short time before she left for exile. They started praying for her, and these prayers were a very powerful strength for Mata when she was in Ravan. The reason the Ravan could not touch her was because of the energy, the cosmic energy that was generated by this women's meditation and the power, prayers, strength that Mata had a circle around her, that Ravan couldn't touch her. So Ravan, so that's what Soma said, that she would go every morning and sit down with the other women and pray for this for the Mata. On the other side, Ravan and his generals were hurting people, and the area was getting more tenser, and a lot of people were getting hurt, and Mata could see that the nature was getting disturbed. Mata knew that before, when she would go to Godavari Nadi, the fishes would come around and play with her. But now fishes were not coming. The birds were not flying on the normal pace. The weather was changing, and if it's a rainy season, the rain's not happening. It's instead cold weather is coming. So the weather was changing very drastically because of the negative forces. Ravan was threatening again and again to hurt people, hurt creatures, and and on top of that, now Sarupnakha comes in the picture. Sarupnakha would turn herself into a pretty woman and lure men, and throughout her journey, they had heard a lot of cases how she had ruined the families, and she would lure the men out. And back then, a woman whose husband has left her, she had no place in the society, and so these women would end up committing suicide, or they would kill themselves. So this was a very sad situation that was happening, and the downfall feels like was happening. Throughout their journey, they had developed a system where Lakshman would stay up through the night and keep guard. Shri Ram and Mata would awake at dawn, and that's the time when Lakshman would take a nap. And so Mata had seen that Lakshman's body was taking a toll, because he was either fighting the wars at night, and then on top of that, the nights he's not sleeping at night. So that day, Mata decided to get some herbs and plants for him, so she could add it to his food and make him feel a little better. Mata arrived at the Godavari Nadi to get some herbs, and she was going to the shallow side of the water that day to look for the plants for Lakshman. And she was about to get her basket all full of plants, and she heard some voices of a woman who was crying in pain. So she followed that voice of the woman, voice, and she's like, "Who is this voice?" I mean, between the chirping of the birds and the monkeys talking, playing around, she hears that woman voice. And that woman voice, when she follows her, there was a young woman who was crying in front of the statue of Parvati Ma. And it was a very sad environment there. The hut was was broken. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get some water. And she was crying that, Mata, why this happened to me? What is this? And so Mata tried to reach out to that woman, but it feels like, when somebody's trust is broken, it's hard to gain that trust. So that woman was not able to recognize Mata. the true woman that Mata was. And Mata tried to explain her that I am Sita, but she was crying and she was very upset about something. So Mata held her hand and she told her to look into her eye. And when she looked into Mata's eyes and she says, Mata, forgive me, I didn't recognize you. Mata was very disturbed for a second. She's like, I had never had to tell somebody my who true identity is, because Mata, everybody knew Mata who she was. And she's like, she was feeling very bad for that woman. What happened to her in her life that she is in such a situation? So her name is Chandrika. This lady's name is Chandrika. So she will be there and until the last few chapters of the book. So this is the one, she ends up becoming a Rishi. Right now she's a Rishi wife. So she tells her about her story. She says, I am a wife of a Rishi. And the Guruji really knew my husband's capability. So the Guruji helped my husband to open an ashram for boys to go to school, right? So both husband and wife were having a good family life, and lot of students would come and get education from her husband. But what had happened was Sarup Nakha came. Sarup Nakha came dressed into as a beautiful woman, and she says, "I'm a daughter of a rishi, and you have not heard about my father because you know my father is in a different place, very far from here, and nobody knows much about him. But I want to serve you." So she started living in the ashram. And so whenever Chandrika would object for that woman to be around, the husband would say, no, 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 you're just thinking too much. So she just kept her quiet. So one day when Chandrika woke in the morning, her husband went missing because Chandrika knew that something was not right with this woman. There was a different kind of a smell in her that was very annoying for her. And she says that, you know, when you are in a demon state, you have a different kind of negative aura that you're releasing. So Chandrika could recognize that thing. And she would talk, but whatever she would say to any of the students, everybody would follow her directions, and Chandrika could sense that. And I guess Rishi could not sense that. So Sarup Nakha, who was into a form of a Rishi daughter, she took the husband away. So Chandrika decided that, you know, I will go look for my husband. So she went to look for her husband, but her husband was nowhere to be found. And since she was in a low esteem mode right now because her husband had left, as I had mentioned that when a husband leaves, the society doesn't accept the woman whose husband has left her. So she wanted to commit suicide. But Parvati Ma says, Parvati Ma stopped Chandrika from committed suicide. And she said, you have to devote your life for spiritual pursuits. And so she saved her life. So Sita Mata said, thank you to Parvati Ma for saving her life. Chandrika's eyes were very red of crying all this time. And she's like, Mata, I'm a deserted wife. I'm abandoned wife. What would you do if Ramji ever, abandons you? So Sita Mata says that I've never given a thought, but whatever it is, what I have learned from Janak Baba is, yes, love your husband, but not to lose your own dignity. Anybody's dignity is more important than any relationship. So Mata says that, Mata found out that what was the Mata gave strength and love for her to sustain. Mata says that, you can stay here and in the hut and I will come visiting you. And she says, Mata, you will not ask me to go back. Mata says, no, you're capable of your own to sustain yourself. And so Mata made some food again. And with all the plants that she had collected for Lakshmanji, she made that food for Chandrika to heal her. And by the time it was time for Mata to leave, Chandrika felt much better. And Mata also taught her some meditation that she had learned from Rishi Ansuya, and that made her so much better. And Mata thanked again Parvati Ma for giving a new life to Chandrika. Mata says to Chandrika that you have to learn a lot and you have to grow among yourself. You're not a weak woman, and you don't know how women can be how strong. Mata, before she left, and she says, then she realized that, oh my God, it's almost time to go home and it's very dark. And so and all the plants that she had collected for Lakshmanji, she had already given to Chandrika. So she thought she'll come back to get it next day. When she reaches home, she sees Lakshmanji pacing up and down. And Lakshmanji asked Sita, where is Ramji? Sita Mata said, I thought he was with you. So they both, Lakshmanji and Sita, they both thought that Ramji was with them. So finally, when Ramji comes, he was in a very disturbed, he was very disturbed too. So when when all three of them sat down to sit down to eat dinner, that's when Ramji said that while he was visiting a village, he saw a dead body floating on a river, that nobody, it was a body of a rishi that nobody wanted to touch. So Ramji didn't feel fair, so he wanted to bring the body to do the Antim Sanskar. Antim Sanskar means last rites. So, but nobody wanted to touch, and they said that, this man was lured by a woman and he has left his family, so nobody wants to touch him. Finally, Ramji convinced two people to take the body out, and they did the Antim Sanskar, last rite for the rishi. And that's when Sita Mata realized that he was Chandrika's husband. So, and then Mata told her side of the story, how her day was. So they put two and two together, and that's how they found out that Chandrika's husband has passed away. And Mata wanted this to reach out to to uh, to Chandrika, and the Chandrika to tell her that, but she is not able to do that. So when she gets, then she Mata sits down in a meditation to reach out. So she takes her body into a a light wave, and she goes there to meet Chandrika, because as Ramji said, she cannot go at night, especially because Ravan's commanders can attack anytime. So she goes in a little form of a light to meet with Chandrika. So when she goes there, she finds out that couple students are already informing Chandrika that her husband has already passed away. So Chandrika was again very sad, and Mata wanted to reach out to hold Chandrika, but she couldn't hold out because she's not in a physical form. She's in a light form because she went to her meditation, and she was crying. And Mata, I have no strength to you. Then Parvati Ma came to Chandrika and she says, "Look, Sita Mata is right behind you, and she will help you." So as when she realized that Sita Mata is in a form of a light, she says, Mata, I have no strength to live on my life. Mata says, then take my strength. So Mata gave her some of her strength to Chandrika so Chandrika can feel stronger. And Mata says, I love you, but despite everything that happened in your life. And Mata says, I promise you, you will meet again in a better circumstances. And this time, your husband will never leave you. And Mata gave her that promise. And before she left, she told Chandrika, nobody escapes their deeds. She will not be go unpunished. So they were talking about Sarup Nakha because Chandrika was very upset because she was having a happy life, and Chandrika and Mata were talking about Sarup Nakha. So Sarup Nakha, what she did was not a good thing that she did. So Chandrika was very upset with Sarup Nakha. And so she was complaining to Mata, like what she did. I was having a happy life. She disturbed my life. My husband's gone. I have no strength. Why I have no reason to live on? So Mata says, nobody escapes their deeds. She will not go unpunished. And, things will come to her. Mata didn't know why she said those words, how those words came out of her mouth. But, she understands whatever has happened, it happens for a reason. And so, um, then few days more passed by, and Mata was running low on water. And as soon as she went to, she was like, Abhi Ramji is not awake, and so let me go get some water. She was going to get the water, and that's when Godavari Nadi made her aware. Mata, be careful, danger is around you. Mata could feel that sense of smell. The smell was around in that area. Remember that smell that Chandrika mentioned? So Mata realized that there was a smell. So before she gets into any trouble, she runs back to the hut. And once she goes back to the hut, she shuts the door and she makes Ramji and Lakshmanji aware of that the smell is around. She doesn't tell them anything about the danger and the smell, much of it, but she wants to keep everybody safe. And so she takes everybody into the hut. And that's when Soma says, Soma went into the meditative state, and Ansuya and mother, they leave her for the night. And that ends my chapter 11. I will open the floor for everyone for questions. And if you guys have any queries or any questions to ask, please. Thank you for listening to me, masters. Thank you, Manoj sir. You are curious about. The reason from Sita. I'm sorry, I'm reading your message, sir, as usual. Yes, the deer will come in the story. Yeah, you can listen to on the YouTube, Lavan, Anu ma'am. Any more questions, anyone? The deer will come in the story because Ramji is trying to make Sita Mata happy. And that's when he sees the deer and he's like, you want me to go get the deer? And so we can make him a pet. And so, yes, he goes chasing after the deer. Did I answer your question, sir? Yes, that will come in later in the story.